Good morning. Can you guys hear us?
We can hear you.
I can't see you, but I can hear you, Seven Hills.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, now we can see everybody.
Now we can see everybody's screens. They look great. Hey,
You see
Elizabeth.
me?
It's okay. It's all good.
Or like last week, okay. Happens out in the same place on Friday.
You guys, we are going to have an action-packed meeting and you will need pen and paper. Don't be afraid to get your red book if you've got it handy. We got a lot of fun stuff on the agenda and a lot to go over and a lot to go through today.
Fun stuff?
I think it's fun.
It's always fun.
I think it's a lot of fun. So, yeah. Happy Tuesday morning, May 27th. We are likely heading into graduation season and wedding season and summer season and vacations. And so,
House buying season,
house buying season.
house
Yeah.
selling season.
House selling season. So, y'all have a lot of important things going on and there's a lot of activity happening in the market. So, we're going to have a good meeting today. We're going to talk a little bit about lots of things. But I feel really confident you guys will get off today with some really good actionable things to put in place in your business. So, we're going to start with bucket fills, and I would love to hear at least one bucket fill from each office location, but who wants to kick us off? You have a bucket fill, Bo?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. Yeah, I'm gonna fill Jackie Gillespie's bucket. Jackie is our MCA. Actually, her and Tristan tag team the MCA duties in Lexington, and I can tell you that Jackie is, I just really appreciate the fact that she understands the value of time, right? She understands the value of time, and the level of organization that she brings to what she does is just, it's just incredible. It just is. And it turns into a high level of service for our agents. And I just really appreciate the way she shows up every day. So, Jackie, if you're listening, bucket filled. Well done.
All right. Who else has a bucket fill for us? Not everybody at once. Who has a bucket fill? We need a bucket fill from each office, guys.
Okay, Cincinnati's got a bucket fill. Brian Jackson's up.
Brian.
Michelle Huddleston just got a big shout out. Nice
Okay.
job, Michelle. Showing up, making calls, having conversations, setting appointments.
Wow. Look at that. That's a magic formula.
Congrats, Michelle. That's awesome.
Hey, we got one in Lexington from John.
Let's go, Lexington.
Hey, I'd like to.
Wow.
I'd like to fill Dana's bucket. She's always there for my clients. I've sent several to her, and if they're not ready, she puts them on a plan. So she does a great job. Weekends, doesn't matter. If she's not doing something with the family, she goes ahead and takes care of it. Shout out Dana Clayton.
Let's go, Keller Home Loans. That's awesome.
Oh,
I was
sitting
bucket.
bucket.
I like to fill the agents that donated towards the tornado disaster that hit in Kentucky. It was very appreciated, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that helped participate. It was more than we could ask for. Awesome. Thank you, Allie.
Love that, Allie. Yeah, thank you everybody who donated. We're going to talk a little bit about what our crew got to go do last Friday and what we took along. But thank you guys for those of you that dropped off supplies. That was amazing. Do we have anybody in Louisville? Any bucket fills in Louisville?
Can you hear us?
We can.
screaming at you, but it doesn't seem to. I mean, I already have a loud voice as it is, but I'm gonna fill Cindy Lacey's bucket. She is such just a compassionate, hardworking person, and anytime anyone in the office needs anything, she's one of the first people to just step up and ask how she can help, support, and it's just so great to see. So, I mean, you literally embody like what we're supposed to be, and how we're supposed to be about each other. So I'm just grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Cindy. All right. Okay, guys, we are going to kick off our meeting today. I get asked this a lot, and I think we talk a lot about, each one of us, our personal life mission. We learn about this in Quantum Leap. This is hanging up on the walls in every market center, right? And so I thought it would be cool to just speak to the mission, our mission, as a brokerage, and also, hopefully parts of this are part of your mission, right? And if you choose. And so the mission statement of Keller Williams is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. And I didn't ask anybody specifically to share, but does anybody, like, when you see this, it either pulls a heartstring, or you go, oh my gosh, that has happened for me since being here. Is there anybody that wants to share about like how this has shown up in your life? Took us a while to get bucket fills, so we may not have anybody run to the mic.
Hey, I got one. I'll toss one out. I'll get real specific. Somebody give me a shout out. What is a business worth owning?
Do you hear that?
Nope.
Nope.
One that you can control that doesn't control you.
Ah, like that, right? Which then leads to what? A life worth living, right? Because I don't just work all the time, right? Yeah. So when we talk about a business worth owning, what's the business generating?
Passive income.
Yeah, passive income, active income, profit, right? Businesses worth owning are profitable. And it's the profit from the business that allows us to do the things in our lives. Experiences worth giving. Family vacation, paying for someone's college fund, right? Legacies worth leaving. The ability to leave your family with basically, the things that you've done, the things that you've accomplished. Maybe it's basically growing your family. I just think when we talk about businesses worth owning, the first thing we have to embrace there is that we are running businesses, right? It's not a job, right? It's either it's a career. We're building a career and ultimately a business. So those are the ones that always stick out to me.
Yeah, and here's a little fun business tidbit, and I know we're not all there yet, but a business is one that you can step away from and it will keep running, right? Like we talked about this. I was in Louisville last week, and we were doing our 5-year plans, and we were talking about what would it look like to build a business that you could literally leave town for a month. You could go on a family vacation to Europe or do something else, and you come back and your business has continued to stay afloat or even grown while you were gone. That's a business, right? So yeah, lots of good stuff here, you guys, but I would be thinking about if any part of that sticks out to you, how are the activities and the goals that you're setting supporting this, right? And just quick here, I'll add, I think each stage of our life, different parts of this may mean different things. So I think about when I first got into the business, it really was to have a career. And then as my career grew, it turned into, how do I set this up more like a business owner? And then how do I create a business that's profitable, that allows me to go out and have the life that I want, right? Drive the car and have the house, and the kids go to the schools and all the things, right? And then experiences could be travel. It could be, any experience. But as your business grows and your career grows, you start to look at different layers of this. And now, at least for Bo and I, we're into that legacy piece. how do we build things today that we'll be able to pass on as a legacy? So if not all of this is sticking out to you today, that's okay. You may be in a stage or another stage of this at any given time, and that's okay. So we just wanted to share that. You guys, just quick, we're going to do the same thing we always do. So if you get a takeaway during this meeting, share it on social media. You can either tag in the comments, Bo or I, or you can add us to the post and check in at your market center, and we'll be doing a drawing for a $100 Visa card or a lunch to talk about and dive into whatever you want to dive into together. So I wanted to pause here and thank you, Allie, for bringing this up. We just want to thank everybody for your support. So I think we raised around $2,600 in funds through the PayPal account, and then we had lots of additional donations. But this crew of people, we had, it looks like 10 to 15 of our Commonwealth team, Somerset, Stanford, they all went down to London last Friday and they served on site. Joseph, I know you're by the computer. Do you want to share? Anybody want to share like what that experience was like?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share. Look, it's just surreal when you're that close to that level of devastation, and it's interesting when you have tornadoes or storms or whatever it is, what houses it hits and businesses it is versus what doesn't. But what was abundantly clear is just how people show up. Right, and the character of the people who tend to show up in tragedy like this, and so we're very grateful to our sister market center for donating items, for donating money. I'm grateful for the team that went down. We had a crew, we had a whole family go. We had a lot of good representation down, just in and around airport, just really organizing. I'll say this: our team, when we got there. There wasn't really great coordination around where to go, what to do, and then donations were just rolling in. You know, there's this huge line, but I know that our team kind of stepped in there. Shout out Lexi, Howie, and organized the donation room. And by the time they were done with it, there was a plan, there was a system, and I really felt like you could see the difference in the time we were there. Then the other half of the crew went and cleared debris, metal, shingles, wood, just all kinds of stuff. Like we were finding pictures of families, old Bibles, you know, so it's just like, I don't know, it was very humbling to kind of just be reminded that, you know, your life just changed on a dime. It happened while you're sleeping. But really grateful for how our community and how our people showed up. There were volunteers from all kinds of states and other places who just wanted to show up and serve, and we're grateful that our crew was able to do that.
Yeah, very cool. Like very, very, like you said, humbling to be there, right? And it's a gift to get to serve in that way. So for those of you that gave and donated and dropped supplies and everything else, thank you. We still we're collecting. We've got a pile of supplies here from Southern Indiana, which will get down to London. But if anybody still wants to make a monetary donation or even Amazon quick ship things, we'll get those down to that community. So, and then I wanted to quickly share, you guys, we had this is KW Cares Month. So in addition to the giving you've done for this tornado relief, this month nationally, we have a goal to raise $888 in each market center to kind of support Mo Anderson's birthday and also just giving and our impact with giving. And so I wanted to give a shout out to KW Seven Hills. You guys have passed the goal. So congrats on that. I know you came out of the gate strong and we appreciate that. If our other offices aren't there, we have time. We have a week left to give, and each location has its own giving code, which will be on the next slide. And so I just wanted to share that with you all. So you have an opportunity in your market center to make a contribution and help us hit that KW Cares goal for the month of May.
Hey,
So, yeah.
Tara,
Yeah.
when was that like last check? 'Cause we have some agents in my office right now that said that they have donated.
I checked it yesterday morning, and it could just be that it's not on the donation link. And we can
Okay.
find that, if it was given a different way, if they can just email the MCA office, and we'll figure out, where those funds may have just gone to kwcares.com versus
Okay.
like the local market center giving link, which is still great. That totally works. It all gets to the same place, right?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for letting us know about that. Okay, so you guys, the next thing we want to go over, and this, about every month, every probably 3 weeks or so, Gary sends something out to the company. He sends it out to the leadership. It's in the lead, which is our kind of like a newsletter. And so there's some really good stuff in this. And when you guys get the slides, you'll see this. I'm going to put it up on the screen so we can look at it together. And we thought we would just read it. So why don't you start, Bo? And
Sure. Yeah. It's 5:30 in the morning, and here's what's on my mind. First heading is workaholics. I recently had an interesting talk with a very successful real estate agent. He told me his story of working as a buyer's agent for the city's top luxury agent. Extremely prosperous, the agent taught him a lot. The one thing he'd learned caused him to leave. The agent led him to believe that to succeed at the top of the game, he had to devote his entire life to it. Since he had a wife and 2 small kids, this just wasn't going to happen. So he left and joined Keller Williams. He's been doing extremely well, but something was missing. He knew he could do more, but believed the only way he could do it was to work more. How many of us have been there, right? And that was a sacrifice too far.
he was wrong, so we spoke. I shared that my entire life has been one giant experiment to prove that agent wrong. In my 20s, I'd also believed it. I believed it because the world, the media, too many successful people all said that it was so. Then my world crashed around me, and as I lifted myself up, I had an aha. There's a difference between being a workaholic and having work ethic. I realized I'd been surrounded by workaholics who had led me to believe in their work religion and recruited me into worshiping long hours and making daily sacrifices. In this world, nothing mattered more than work, and it was placed at the top of their personal value list. My aha led me to go in the opposite direction. I bucked their system and instead built my life around an incredibly focused work ethic. I made how I spend my time versus how much time I spend my true success north. I decided to put God and family first and see if through a small work ethic driven by a focus on what mattered most, I could actually have it all.
So far at age 67, I can tell you that it's worked. Why? Because I've lived a life of lining up the most important things to drive my business and then focusing first on the most important one. I set work time parameters to protect my personal life. Through this approach, everything became possible for me, a full and successful business life and a full and successful personal life. There's a truth in life. To live our best life, we must give our best efforts to the things that matter most. I'm going to read that one again. To live our best lives, we must give our best efforts to the things that matter most. It's that simple. But the secret is knowing what matters most. In our business, appointments are the one thing. They drive recruiting. 20% of all appointments join KW, and that drives production and profit. All the dominoes of winning at the brokerage game line up under one thing: appointments. The advice I gave the agent is the same advice I share with all. If you hit your weekly appointment goals, provide real value, and tightly manage your expenses, the best success and profit you seek will come. Apply your work ethic to giving your best to what matters most at work. It will pave the way of living your best business life and your best personal life.
So we just wanted to share that with you all because you want me to come off share?
Yeah.
Share?
There we go.
Okay. we just wanted to share that with you all because from Gary, a lot of people look at Gary and they say, wow, he's devoted his entire life to this work, which he has. And yet having a great life and a great business doesn't mean you have to work 24/7. It just means you know what to focus on and what's most important in the time you allow, right? You could work 3 days a week and still get the same outcome, just being very diligent with that time, right? So,
How about comparing workaholic versus a strong work ethic? Did that hit anybody between the eyes? Okay, you can raise your hand if it did.
a
Thank
couple of
you.
you.
Thank you for playing along there. I really appreciate that. All right, well done. Yeah, I just think and here's the thing, Gary, when he says that, it's not lip service. The man has literally devoted a large portion of his life and the books he's written and everything around how to focus on the things that matter the most.
Yeah.
I just think it's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. So,
Yep. We wanted to share that with you all. And we're going to talk a little bit today about the balance of sellers and buyers. So again, we talked a little bit about like having good work ethic, but also knowing what matters most in your business. And you guys will see this came out of MREA page 50. And it talks a little bit about the balance of seller listings versus buyer listings or buyer agency agreements. And here's a pro tip for you. If you focus on a 60% or higher seller listing focus, when you set your annual goals, you will recapture back a large portion of your time. So for example, if your goal is to sell 20 houses this year, our natural brain, I think, goes, I'll do 10 listings and I'll do 10 buyers. But MREA best practices, let's do 60% or higher on listings so you can leverage your time and you're not losing your mind over showings and you can grow your business on that listing side focus. So you guys can see here this graphic on the left. What it shows is that as an agent's business grows, the percentage of listings grow as well. The natural balance to this is going to happen actually on its own once you're at about 250,000 in GCI. And beyond that point, the number of buyer listings depends on the goals and priorities of the agents, probably inside of your team or your business. The interviews with the best agents in the business led us to believe that a seller listing, this is important, you guys, because we're going to talk about this in just a minute. A seller listing properly marketed will consistently yield 1 or more buyer sales.
1 or more.
And we've seen 1 to 3 as an average. So I want you guys to just think, are you marketing your seller listings in a way that every time you put one on the market, you generate 1 to 3 buyer pieces of business? That's the model, right? So if you want to have 50 sales in a year, you really need a lead generation plan that delivers 25 saleable and marketable listings. Once you market them, you'll generate the 25 pieces of business on the buy side. And we're going to go over the 14-step marketing plan that it talks about here. But the simple truth is, if you focus on marketing seller listings, the buyers will come. More buyers than for that specific property. So
I got something to add there.
yeah, just last quote here. When we successfully list, everything else falls into place. So what were you going to add?
Well, so I'm going to come off share real quick because I like to be able to see everybody. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So how many of you are sitting there right now and you're thinking to yourself, okay, every house that I list could bring me 2 buyers? How many of you wholeheartedly believe in that?
Couple of you.
Oh,
a bunch
okay.
of you.
All right. We'll say, okay, good. I appreciate that. And yet here's the thing. It's not everybody in the room. Okay. So let me throw something out here and see if we're following here. So, there's a piece in that quote right there. A seller listing property marketed will consistently yield one or more buy side sales. I can remember when it was 2 point something. Sign calls and everything else like that, right? You got sign calls, open houses, whatever, my website. Now, here's the deal. At the end of the day, think about this. It's 100% true. We are living it every single day to know that that seller listings bring the buyers. Here's how we know it's true. Zillow. Zillow takes the listings that you put on the market and they syndicate them across the entire planet Earth. And then they turn around, they capture those leads. Stay with me. They capture those leads and then they sell them back to you, the agent. Zillow has built an entire platform and become one of the most dominant entities in our industry by taking your listings, syndicating them, taking the buyer leads that come, and then selling them back to you. OpCity did it too. My Agent Finder did it. Ojo did it.
Homes.
An entire industry was created by taking our listing, and this isn't an indictment to the MLS or syndication or anything like that, but here's what we know. Those listings are so valuable that all those companies I named became industry juggernauts by capturing those buyer leads and doing something with them. Now, so there you go. You can run the same play, right? That's why Tara loses her mind when we put links to the MLS on our listings instead of the link that leads directly to you.
Yeah.
It's why we syndicate through My Listings, My Leads. Gary Keller believes that it's your listing. You should get every single lead. Guys, some of us don't answer our phone. You got a sign on a listing and it's got your number on it. Some of you answer the phone and aren't skilled enough with your scripts, dialogues, and conversations to convert that phone call to an appointment. That's a skill. We'll be working on that in the months and weeks and months to come. That's the key. So sorry, I get a little passionate on that because we list houses and we don't turn that into, I listed their house, I help them buy another house. I got another buyer, that also had a house to sign. Now I'm up to 4 transactions from one listing. That's what the pros do. That's how you turn the same amount of time into 4 times the income. So anyways, just thought I would
Yeah.
hop up on that
A lot
box
of
for a minute
passion on
there.
that. You
Little
guys,
sweat. I think I broke a little sweat.
Bo didn't share this number, but like with Zillow, you guys know they sell 10x. Like, so they'll sell 4 million leads, but only 400,000 homes actually transact. And that may be billion to million, but the reality is these guys are selling one lead 10 times.
It used to be 13.
And
It was as high as 13 point something.
And they're your leads, right? So what I wanted to share with you all is the 14-step marketing plan, because this is how you take a listing and you turn it into 1, 2, 3 additional pieces of business. Are you
Wait,
guys?
And let me just jump in here real quick. Here's the reason why this is so important, because all of us in the rooms today, right, are industry experts, right? You guys are experts, you're professionals. And here's the reality. Houses are going to start sitting on the market longer. It was tough sometimes to get that lead capture on a listing that sold in 25 minutes. With me? But when those listings start sitting a little bit longer, your ability to capture more business is going to go up dramatically. We've got to be ready. We got to be ready to make the right call, have the right conversations with the right people when they do call us up.
Yeah, and I'm going to just compare this to, how many of you guys do open houses? I see some hands. Okay. Do you all know that less than 1% of open houses sell at open house? So if we know that only 1% or less sell, why do we do open houses? We do open houses for the 7-step plan that generates leads, right? We know that buyer is probably not going to walk through the door on open house day, but it's about the activities we do the week in advance. It's the social posts, it's the postcard mailers, it's the
follow-up. It's the follow-up on the
door
visitors. Yeah.
knocking, the neighbors. It's all the activities. That one event for most agents will generate 5 or 6 potential pieces of buyer business.
Yeah.
So we don't do the open house to sell it, which is great if it happens. We do the open house in a systematic way to generate leads so we can go out and sell real estate. And so same thing with a seller listing. you definitely want to sell your seller listing. And yet we want to market it in a way that we're able to attract multiple other buyers and sellers from that one activity. Okay. So I want to share the list with you, but I want to share where this started. About 6 months ago, I got a call from one of our top agents in one of our offices, and she had a high priced listing on the market. And she called and said, "Hey, I need to get on a call with you. This property hasn't sold. It's been 3 or 4 weeks. My seller is really frustrated and I need to figure out what to do." So I get on the Zoom call with her and her assistant. And I say, before we talk about the marketing strategy, I just would love to know, what is your marketing plan? And she said, well, I do what we always do. We put it on the MLS and then we put it on social media and we basically wait for someone to sell it. So I'm just gonna,
Anybody else running that play? Show of hands.
don't raise your hand.
little small,
It's
maybe like a
okay
little-
if you are.
A little shorthand, a little alligator arm, maybe.
So, but the reality is, guys, that's all we've had to do for some time.
Yeah.
Is put it on the MLS and another agent would sell it. And if you were doing that, your sellers were happy because you were selling the listing, and you may not have been benefiting from getting all the leads from that listing because it sold too quick. Okay. And so here's what I did. Here's what I went through with her. And it's a model. It's a model that we run. And this is called the Basic 14-Step Marketing Plan for Listings. You can find this on page 51 of the MREA.
51.
Now, you guys hear me say this. This is the basic 14-step. You might choose to have a 20-step listing marketing plan. But what it says, and I'm going to read these, and I want you guys to think about, would this be effective or not effective? Because remember, this book was written in 1992. Okay. But what it says at the bottom of this is the only real difference between agents is that some agents just go out and list houses, and some agents actually market them. And so while I'm reading through this list, I want you guys to ask yourself the question, are you a listing agent? Do you take a listing, put it on the MLS and hope somebody sells it? Or are you a marketing agent where you market your listings to find other buyers and sellers and to proactively find the person that's going to purchase that home? That's what a pro does. Okay. So here's your basic 14-step marketing plan.
Well, and let me say this, when you look at this too, here's the other thing that it does. It galvanizes the relationship with that seller for them to see you as the trusted expert. It's how you lock these people down and you become their agent of choice for future referral business as well as their business at another date.
Yep. And it puts you in control of the experience. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. Number 1, in a basic 14-step marketing plan. That means basic means we all should probably be doing these 14. Number 1, staging and pricing strategies. Raise your hand if you're doing that. Do you walk around and help them stage their home and understand how to price it competitively in the market? That's number 1. Number 2, we do a for sale sign.
Got the sign.
With writer signs and directional signs. And I'll say this, I know we do directionals for open houses. Are you putting directionals out on every listing? Are you driving traffic to your listing? Which leads me to number 3. This one's funny, and we've already figured out from asking lots of top people, it's effective. Are you putting a tube or a box with flyers in the yard, right? An old flyer box, or distributing flyers in the neighborhood?
And Tara, if I'm doing flyers in the neighborhood, I'm not sticking them in mailboxes or jamming them under doors. I'm door knocking.
Yeah.
Right. I'm door knocking, handing them out. I'm introducing myself. Hey, I've got the house right up the street for sale and everything. Hey, how long you lived in the neighborhood? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm using that opportunity, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I think a really great script, you guys, it's real simple. Hey, we just listed the house at 123 Main Street. It's really likely that we're going to have tons of buyers through, and this property is not going to be the right fit, yet they want to live in this neighborhood. So who else do you know around here that might be thinking of selling their home and would consider selling it if they didn't have to actually deal with 30 or 40 showings, if we could bring one buyer? That's a script. Okay, but I want you
That's
guys,
a good one.
if y'all have limiting beliefs on this, I want you to think about this. Flyer box in the yard, if it were me, it would have a QR code that would take them to my website. My website asks them to register. So that's a lead capture mechanism. So think about it this way. How many of you guys believe if you put 25 or 30 flyers in a flyer box, people would drive by and take the flyers? How many of you guys believe that?
Yeah, I got it right here.
I asked this recently in a class in one of our offices, and somebody said, I just did it, and 30 or 40 flyers were gone within 24 hours. So if we know that people will drive by and take the flyer, why did we stop doing this? We stopped doing it because it's an additional piece of work, and we trusted that we put it on the MLS and it would sell. And yet, if 25 people pick up flyers, go to a listing specific landing page and register for more information, I've just captured 25 leads. See how that kind of fits different? Okay, number 4, flyers in the house, a home book, and comment cards. We did that. We used to do that on every single listing. We'd have flyers in the house. I would have sellers disclosures in the house. We would have little sheets they could fill out for feedback. A lot of agents have stopped doing that, but that is number 4 on your basic marketing plan. Number 5, it goes on the MLS. That's number 5.
Bing.
Number 6, a web listing with a virtual tour. I would also sub in here a listing specific landing page.
Yeah.
It takes 3 minutes in Command to make a property specific website to advertise that listing. If you don't know how to do that, jump into Lexi or Peyton's tech hours, and I'm sure they would love to help walk you through that. Number 7, the house is featured in a marketing vehicle. That could be your newsletter. That could be it could be a campaign.
Neighborhood nurture.
Wherever you want to advertise it, it could be the local newspaper. People don't do that often, but you could put it in a magazine, right? Like, what is the marketing vehicle that this property is going in? Number 8, we have an open house program. Not an open house program. Here's how many times we're going to do open house. Here's the frequency. Here's how I market my open houses. Here's what we do to get 20 or 30 people to show up. What's your program? Number 9, email, fax, or voice broadcast. So I will say, be diligent about TCPA compliance. When I was in sales, I used a company called Land Voice. I could put in the house I was listing, and it would give me 100 names, phone numbers, addresses around that property, and it scrubbed it on the do not call list. So I could very easily do a voicemail broadcast, or I could dial through and let people know we'd listed their neighbor's house. Number 10, we track showings, we collect feedback, and ideally you're providing that to the seller, right? So again, when I hired my assistant on Fridays every week, she called every single seller. She told every seller how many views we'd had online, what our activity was, when our next open house would be, and they knew we were working for them because we were proactively providing feedback.
Now, and how many of you are doing, by a show of hands, find yourself doing more price reductions than you have done over the last 2 or 3 years? Any
Yeah,
hands?
I
Anybody
see-
doing any?
I
Got
see
some? Yeah.
hands, yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. If we're tracking showings, if we're collecting feedback, if we're bringing that data to that conversation, I will promise you this, the conversation goes in a much more positive direction. Because at the end of the day, houses only sell for 3 reasons: price, condition, and location. If you got a great neighborhood and the house is in fantastic shape, it's one thing, it's price. We also know that houses in poor locations or that are in really bad condition, they will eventually sell if the price is low enough, right? So it's going to come back to price. You're setting the stage when you start tracking this information and building that dialogue back and forth with your seller. The price reduction conversation will go much better.
That's for sure. And if you're talking to them every week, you're in relationship and they know that you're working on their behalf, right? This feels a lot different than I put it on the MLS and nobody's called to schedule an appointment yet, right? So number 11 is targeted marketing. So we could target the neighborhood around the property. If this is a move up home, meaning it's a class above like a first time home buyer, you could go target a first time home buyer neighborhood nearby and say, we've got a great option if you're looking to upsize, right? Number 12, weekly seller updates. We talked about that. That could be a call, that could be an email, but giving your sellers updates on what's happening with their property every single week. Number 13, property caravans. I'm a big fan of the property caravan, you guys. We used to do this all the time.
Broker open too. You could do broker opens with properties as well.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping a group of people from coming and touring each other's listings, giving feedback and getting that to the seller so that they can make any adjustments. And then number 14 is creative marketing ideas. It could be incentives to purchase. It could be commission incentives. It could be free home warranty. Lots of ideas for that. But the other thing I'll add here is every property you list, I would recommend you run a $1 per day ad through command and social media. So every day it's $1 a day and it's generating leads, and the leads that come in from those ads usually cost about 17 to 18 cents a piece. That's how you take a listing and you immediately generate leads. So you guys, I don't know if anybody has any thoughts, but here is my suggestion. We're heading into a market that is skill-based. And the thing that sets Keller Williams agents apart is we're building businesses worth owning. And businesses means we really put thought into the systems and the value that we want to offer, and we can go out and duplicate that over time to get an expected result. And so I wanted to share this with you. We have a lot of people ask about marketing and how do we market and do we need flyers? And the reality is a comprehensive marketing plan looks like this. And it's more than a social media post. It's more than one flyer.
And there's a lot of places to integrate this information into social media.
For sure.
I mean, guys, make no mistake, social media is a critical component. It's not listed here, obviously, and yet the results of a lot of these things that you can do make great posts,
Yeah.
right? Hey, here's how things went here, right?
That's number 15 probably, right?
Yeah.
Or that's your web listing with
Sure.
your property specific page. Anybody have questions or ahas after seeing that? Is anybody doing a 14-step marketing plan for your listings to then be able to generate 2 to 3 pieces of buyer business? It's very quiet out there.
It is.
Okay.
Is this on? Is this on?
Must be the rain. Must be the rain. Okay. We're going to keep moving. And if you guys have questions or you need help with this, I would love to help, because if we're not marketing to generate leads, we're missing out on a huge opportunity when we do take a listing, right? And maybe start tracking. Every time I take a listing, how many pieces of buyer business are you generating from that? And that's a good way to track if your strategy is effective. All right, so Bo is going to walk you guys through an activity, and I believe we sent out, hey, is that Jess? Hold on. Somebody's waving. We can't hear you all, but we see you waving. You're unmuted.
How about stop share? Then we can see what's going on, maybe. Wait.
Hold
Somebody
on.
was waving their hands.
No, we can't hear you. Nope. Shoot, we lost Louisville. Can you guys hear us?
Hear me now?
Here we
I
go.
can hear you now.
That's a much delayed thing, but I know for me, when I was going on listing appointments, I was almost interviewing for every job that I had. So they always wanted me to leave like the pricing strategy, which I wasn't comfortable doing, because when you're not in a relationship with them, they're taking your information and then they're letting their cousin list it. So I had something similar to that, which I would leave my marketing plan, because that's going to allow them to look at exactly what you're doing. And then when they're comparing who is going to do the best job, most agents nowadays are not listing out all of the steps that they're taking in order for the client to understand what they do. They just show up and throw up all of the information on how great they are. But that worked so many times, because they would call and like, as they're deciding, like, you said this, but I'm not sure what that meant. And then I was able to close the deal that way. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important, Jess, because you just nailed it. if we don't tell them what to expect and what we're working on, they assume we're not doing anything. Like if you
Yeah.
list a house and don't
Sure.
talk to your seller for 90 days and it hasn't sold, you can assume that they're assuming you're not doing anything. So setting that up and saying, here's what's going to happen next. Okay, we did that. Here's what we're going to do next. Okay, we did that. Here's what's going to happen next. You're actually leading the process and they have very clear expectations. And if anything gets off track, you just go back to what you promised and you look at where you're at inside of that strategy. Thanks for sharing that, Jess.
Jess, what I used to do that I had good success with was I had something I brought with me that was relatively vanilla. It was in like a KW folder, and it opened it up, and I would lead with saying basically, hey, and don't worry, folks, all the information we're going to go over this evening is going to be located in this folder. And I had pretty much sort of curated that folder to not have those things in there, like you're talking about. Give them all the data, then they go get Uncle Frank to list it. But you can right up front say, hey guys, this is your copy of what the information we're going over tonight. You set it to the side, and they never ask again, and then you can go right into your presentation. So
Yeah. And here's
anyways,
the thing.
but I love that. That is a good strategy.
You can absolutely put your properties on the MLS and they'll sell. We are inviting you to think MREA, which is how do we take one piece of business and turn it into 4? And this is a journey. This is why you're here. And we want to make sure we don't miss an opportunity to expand on each opportunity you have.
You also know that you've got to get the house listed at the right price. And your odds of getting it listed at the right price go up dramatically when I have a full presentation. I'm engaging, I'm asking questions. You can't just go in and lay the price down and expect them to bite. You've got to be the industry expert, the neighborhood expert. You got to ask them good questions. You got to get into motivation, all those pieces. So that's good stuff. All right, well, let's dive in on this. So you guys have got a copy of this, and we're not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on it but I do think it's a powerful tool. I've done some chats with some of our top 20% around this, and it's a listing needed form. So what we see with a lot of top producing real estate agents that are running running a great business, controlling their business, they understand what Tara's talked about with regards to listings, right? So the question becomes, at any one given point in time, during the month that I'm in, how many listings do I need to have on the market at all times to hit my overall goal? Okay, to hit my overall goal. So I start to do these numbers. I start looking at these numbers. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through it. Happy to get on a call and chat with anybody that's struggling with this. But so listings needed. How many listings do I need every single day, right? What does it look like? Okay, so if my goal is to close 24 transactions, right, in a year, that's my goal, right? I'm going to close 24 deals. All right, now there's a number that each of us has as far as fallout. Not every deal goes, right? We're going to use 10%. So 10% of 24 is 2.4, right? So that's in line number 2, or that's the answer B, okay? Okay, so what's the total number that I have to start with to end with 24? Well, I got to start with 26.4. Everybody following the math? So if I start with 26.4, and then I look up and go, you know what, 10% of them fall out, I still get to 24, right? Now, so how many of those are going to be listings? Well, Tara already talked about it. MREA says 60%. Okay, 60% of that number, 26.4, is what I'm going to list. So I'm just going to take my goal of 26.4 that includes fallout, multiply it times 60%, and the answer that I get is 15.84, call it about 16. Okay, so basically 16 becomes my number out of the 24 that need to be listings. Now, what percent of your listings sell? I plugged in 90% because I think we're still at a pretty good pace, okay? Your number might be higher. Your number might be a little bit lower, but you start tracking your numbers and you get a little bit of an idea. So assuming 90% of my listings are going to sell, and I need to end up at 15.84, call it 16, then you know what? I'm probably going to have to start with 17.6 or call it 18. Right? So if I list 18 and only 90% of them sell, that means I'm going to sell about 16. Everybody with me? Everybody see where I'm going? I'm just running the numbers up to basically account for things like fallout and not all my listings selling. So number 7, all right, I need 17.6 listings, right, in order to get to 15.84. So the next question is, what's the average days on market? That's your number. Now you could use the market data, right? You could use the days on market for a particular community that you might be focusing on, okay? I plugged in 30, okay? So if our average days on market is 30, one of the things we have to calculate is what is our turnover rate, right? So what is the turnover rate? How fast is the inventory turning over in a particular location or neighborhood or something, side of town, whatever? Well, you take the average days on market and you divide it by, or divide the average days on market by 365. That lets us know that the turnover rate is 12.16%. So 12%, right, of the inventory is going to turn over in a year. And there are some specific formulas when we do farming and things like that. You find a neighborhood that's about a 20% turnover rate, that's a great neighborhood to farm. That's a high number, okay? You find a neighborhood that you're going to farm that has a turnover rate of like 3%, people aren't moving. Stuff's not selling. They're anchored in there, okay? So average days on market is 30, average turnover rate is 12.6. So now we take this data, right? And we basically now can take the listings needed to close, number 7, 17.6, right? And then we're going to turn around and we're going to divide that by our turnover rate of 12.16. So the number of listings you must carry at all times to hit your goal of 24 transactions, 1.39. Now, that's a hard one to track, so maybe we just round it up to 2. So if my goal is to sell 24 transactions in a year, of which 60% of those are going to be listings, right? And I sell 90% of my listings with the 30-day average on market time and a turnover rate of 12.6, I need to carry 2 listings at all times. So if I've got 2 listings and I pinned one, the most important thing I can do to hit my goal right in the moment is find another listing. You guys, everything is right here. I know mega teams that have this on a whiteboard and it's like got stickers and stuff, and they're constantly tracking it, right? It gives you that listing focus. No matter what your number is for closed transactions, once you start calculating this, you absolutely know where you need to be, which ultimately lets you know what you need to be working on. So there's a QR code there. It's just a great piece. It's literally that one metric that you can track and be on track for your goals for listings and buy sides. This is the part where everybody claps because you're so excited.
Yay.
Thank you,
I
Jessica.
can see
Jessica got the clap going. It's a golf clap, but it's a clap nevertheless.
Southern Indiana clap.
Yeah, there
You
you go.
guys, this is no different than, I'm going to say it's no different than if you own a McDonald's. We can only have people come in and do business with us if we have cheeseburgers for sale.
Yeah.
So the reason we need 2 listings in the inventory at all times is because when you have 2 listings running your 14-step marketing plan, you're generating enough leads to feed your next listing and your next buyer business. This activity does not work if we're not using our inventory to create momentum.
Yeah.
And so all these things are tied together. What's in your current listing inventory? How are you marketing it? And how you're marketing it feeding your future pipeline? And that is
Awesome.
That is MREA on the seller side, like all the way.
Yeah. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. We're going to go into this next slide. And I think it's important to understand that sometimes all the ideas, all the technology in the world isn't going to make things happen, right? And you can't look past all these incredible tools that we have. And yet sometimes, right, there's a fundamental business practice that someone might be using, somebody that's, cutting edge, and you can't let it go. Right? You just can't let it go. So we're going to play this video where Tammy's going to share, well, one of her secrets, and it's you need to pay attention.
People ask me all the time, how do I feel when my family and friends don't use me as their realtor? or when they don't refer me their family and friends. I mean, honestly, I try not to be petty. I try to rise above, and I run an ethical business. I follow all the rules. I'm professional and I'm really good at what I do. But yeah, if you would like to buy or sell a house, just give me a call and we can do it together.
Okay.
And there you have it, right
you
there.
have it. That,
When all else fails, right?
so what I loved about that video, other than it's hilarious and probably broke a bunch of rules, but that was Tammy Ramsey's husband. And I think he gave permission to be in the back of the
No
car.
people were harmed in the shooting of that video.
Yeah, so that was I think a TikTok or something that Tammy saw, and she recreated it, which I loved. You guys, there's so many great ideas out there. And I think the last time I saw that video, she had over 2,000 views on it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So we wanted to share that because we thought it was fun and funny. And thanks, Tammy, for doing it. All right.
We're ridiculously fun too.
I know. We're fun. And if you want to see Bo and I in the month of June,
Speaking of fun,
yeah, we're going to be teaching all over the place, but Bo's focus for June training is going to be how to bulletproof your database. And I'm going to be focusing on the MREA budget model, time blocking so that you're working smarter, not harder. And then I'll be doing a buyer consultation blueprint in Southern Indiana. So lots of great options. You guys, if you can't tell, we are really, really focusing on the models, best industry, best practice models, which is the pathway to success. And it's going to be what takes you from having a great sales job to owning a great business.
I truly believe, as everyone in our industry does, that the database, and I know we talk about it a lot and it sometimes gets lost in the noise, and yet your database is going to start looking a little bit different, but it's ultimately, going to be the tool. It's going to be the tool. So in my database class isn't like a lot of others, and there'll be a little workshop component in there too. So
yep.
I'm jacked up.
Okay, we wanted to also share that all of our offices now have launched and relaunched business coaching programs. And so the way this works, or how this works and who's invited, anybody that is not capping yet, in my mind, this is a great place for you to be in 2025. Because we have built out, our coaches and the programs have built out a pathway. This is not entrepreneurial. They have created an actual plan, an action plan, and a pathway to get you to cap and to help support you in capping. And so if you've not explored this, get with your coach on site. We have Tammy Ramsey in Louisville. We have Amy Dixon in Southern Indiana. We have Michelle Parsley in Cincinnati, and we have Stephen Brashear in Lexington. And these guys are pumped. They built some amazing processes and systems, and they're ready to get you guys going and really to take advantage.
And a lot of
market.
a lot of collaborating between our business coaches as well, which is that just 10X's it right there.
That does. And if you're past cap, if you're over cap, we've got some fun things coming soon. We will be rolling out, we'll start applications for this in August, but we're going to be rolling out an MREA Masters program. And that is ideal for someone who wants to build a big business and a big life and is committed to industry best practices and the MREA models. So we'll probably be selecting 10 to 12 people. Specifically, I'm going to be working with this group and helping really deep dive into rebuilding some of the models we set aside during COVID. And next to that, we're going to be running a leadership academy. And that leadership academy is going to be ideal for someone who's interested in the leadership path and growing their personal leadership lead as a pathway to impact others. So 2 programs are going to be rolling out. Applications will start in August. There's going to be a bunch more info coming, but we wanted to let you guys know we've got really lots of different spots for you to take your business and your life to the next level. So if you haven't, make sure that you get a post out on social media today and tag us so we can get you entered into that drawing. We'll do the drawing around 5 o'clock today. And that's all we have. Anybody have ahas or takeaways or anything from the meeting today that you want to share with the rest of the group?
The what?
The who?
They said the 14 step marketing plan was amazing.
Yes, I think that's page, what did I say? 51?
51.
Page 51 of MREA. You guys, how you market your listings is what generates your business.
If I did anything amazing, feel free to share that too.
It's not 51.
Michelle said you married Tara, so.
There you go. That's it. That's all. Out of the park, right? Yeah. There you are.
Yeah, you guys go make your marketing plan and set it up in a way that it builds momentum in your business, not just drop it on the MLS and check in with you.
I will say, and I will say this as we wrap up, guys. One, thank everybody for being here. And if you have any feedback or anything, hit us up. I mean, because we're always looking to get better. And the other piece of it is some of this stuff might feel a little bit like overkill. I can tell you this, and you can talk to the veteran agents in your rooms. The market is going to continue to evolve, right? Some of the things we talk about, our goal is to get out in front of it. We don't want to be reading about it after we're a year into it, right? Our goal is to be out in front of it. And here's what we know, right? Inventory levels are going to come up, and prices are going to start to come down. I don't know how long and everything, but that changes things. You folks that have been in the market know that, right? Wow, what an awesome thing to have all kinds of inventory for my buyers. Yeah, it's awesome. And then they look you in the eye and tell you they want to see 62 houses on Saturday, right? So it's different. It's a different conversation. So anyways,
Thank
yeah.
you guys for
Thanks,
being
guys.
here. Go
See ya.
get your marketing strategy in place and let's go find some business this week.
Thank you.
Ready,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.